good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is Monday, December 11th. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and get to my guest. Friday night, I was at my premiere of Horsetown, a psychological thriller. There I am with the writer, director, editor, Michael Laguda. I'm probably not saying his last name right, which I should because I'm Italian. But let me tell you something. I had 21 of my friends show up there. You know who came, you know who didn't. So thank you for coming and supporting me. It was wonderful. It was a great night. We had a good time. And when we were done, we went to McBride's for the after party. Yes, we had a great time. Saturday, I didn't do much, kind of relaxed, stayed at home, and I watched It's a Wonderful Life because who doesn't want to watch It's a Wonderful Life? And then Sunday, I went to Queens with my family, and I'll talk about that a little later at the end of my show. But listen, I'm so excited. I am so excited because I have actor, producer, and director Jack Mulcahy with me tonight. Hi, Jack. How are you?
How are you, my dear?
I'm great. Thank you for taking the trip to Long Island.
Almost didn't make it,
I know.
Yeah.
There was a little excitement on the LIRR.
Yeah, a little excitement on the Long Island Railroad. Some guy needed medical emergency, so we sat in the train station in Wantagh for almost 12 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it.
Hope he's okay.
Oh, I hope so too. Listen, I want to everyone to get to know you, whoever doesn't, but let me tell you something. You've seen this man. You've seen him in something. Either you've seen him on TV or a movie. He's all over the place. He's had an amazing career as a consistent working actor. You know, you were born and raised, let's talk for a moment, on the upper east side of Manhattan.
Upper west side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It says, let's fix this, west side.
Yeah, I'm a west side kid.
You've been there like your whole life.
My entire life, yes.
Yeah.
My folks found the apartment in October of 1954, and I was there since then, and I have never moved because it is a rent-controlled apartment.
And how long was the lease that they signed?
99 years. So in 2052, I'm going to tell them that, I will re-up for another 99.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
2053, I'm sorry. My
So you went to Stuyvesant High School.
Stuyvesant kid, yeah. Graduated at 16 years old.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
So you finished early.
I finished quite early, yes, I did. And then off to college for a little while. And then, unfortunately, I lost my mom when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I kind of dropped out of college and found my creative roots as being a lead singer of several rock and roll bands at that point.
We have a picture of you when you were little boy.
Oh my God.
Look how adorable. Oh my God,
Look
so
at the bangs.
cute.
Got bangs.
Yeah,
actually.
right?
Wow,
Well, that was the style back then.
That's hilarious.
And then
I have the same shirt, actually. No.
And I know your first love is music, and the
Yes,
next
it is.
pick is you actually singing.
That was my first band
That was
and
your
my
first band.
gig.
What was the name of your first band?
First band. My first band was called Pig Iron.
Pig Iron.
Yes.
Wow. Look at you.
And then that evolved into a band called Riverside Drive.
Okay.
And then there was Jackson and the Amen, which is a really, really good band. So yeah, we did.
Now you sang and you sing and you play
guitar.
I
play guitar. Mm-hmm.
And you have quite a few original songs under your belt?
I do. Yeah. And Yeah, so we would play the college circuit up and down the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
University of Vermont, University of Connecticut, and then out into Long Island. We played the Mystic Hour out in the end of the island. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And it's so cool to be that young and doing what you love.
Yeah, and then getting involved with Atlantic Records for so long. I was pretty much a studio rat, bartering my time for recording time.
Yes.
And I was able to be part of a phenomenon which was Foreigner at the time.
Yes, you got to work with Foreigner?
Yes, and I was able to work with Foreigner. I was able to work with Chaka Khan and for Peter Tosh and Keith Richard of the Rolling
anyone
Stones.
who signs with the label.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
How long were you with Atlantic?
7 years. Yeah.
That, again,
Off and
another
on.
learning experience.
Incredible. And to be that young, to see the machine behind such a big band at the time, their number one.
Oh, Foreigner's incredible.
Their number one act at the time was just something to behold for a 22-year-old kid at that point. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have like some pinch me moments when you were there?
Yes, kind of. I mean, I would walk on stage when Foreigner was closing for acts like Heart, Thin Lizzy, REO Speedwagon, and Steve Miller. They were closing for them.
Wow.
Which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And when you walk into the dressing room and Ann and Nancy Wilson are sitting there, and they're just like with the big long boots and everything. And
Yeah.
it's pretty,
Wow, that is
pretty special for a
so
kid.
cool. So
Yeah.
cool. But over the years, obviously, you were with various different rock bands, and then I want to talk about how you got into acting, because it's kind of a crazy story.
It is a crazy story. It's part of happenstance. It's a New York story, pretty much. My next door neighbor, Gary Gotch, the late great Gary Gotch. He and Bob Clark were partners. Bob Clark was known for doing B movies, little horror features like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things and Black Christmas,
Right.
of which there was just a remake recently.
Yeah.
And I had met Bob when I was about 16 or 17 years old, and had a really good rapport with him.
Right.
He asked Gary if I was an actor, and
Right.
Gary said, well, no, Jack's a rock and roll singer. But Bob said, when I finally get the money to do a film called Porky's,
Porky's.
that kid is going to be in it. And 8 years later, he
8 years
remembered.
later, he remembered that he wanted to put you in the movie Porky's.
Yeah. He said, I'll fly you down for a couple of weeks, see if you even like it.
To Florida.
Do some glorified background work. Yeah, Miami.
Right.
And within 2 days, Fox saw me in the rushes and decided, write this kid into the script.
This is crazy. It's such a crazy story.
It is. It really is.
And again, this was Porky's back in '82, right? And which cost $1.5 million, almost $1.7 million, I think, right?
$1.7
to
million
make.
finally,
And
yeah.
this movie back then took in how much?
$200 million.
Yeah.
In 1982 money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, Johnny Carson was talking about it. That's how much of a
Who wasn't
phenomenon.
talking about
It was on the
Porky's?
cover of Rolling Stone. It was just like the most phenomenal thing.
amazing, amazing. So needless to say, this man made his money back and then some.
Yeah, Bob did very well.
Bob
Yeah.
Clark, amazing, amazing. And tell me, because I know the story, and I know you're going to keep it clean, a clean version,
Of course I will.
how you got your SAG card.
So there's a scene in the movie, for those of you who remember it, where we,
Yeah.
as horny little teenagers from Angel Beach High School, we got tricked into thinking that we were going to have a gangbang. And right before that, we're completely naked. Bob Clark walks up to me and he said, oh, by the way, he said, the folks in 20th Century Fox liked you so much that they've written you into the script.
Right.
So from this moment on, you are a member of the Screen Actors Guild.
Boom.
Say whatever you like. And he walks away. And I'm stunned.
I
and
love this story.
And I looked at the actor next to me, Cyril O'Reilly, and I said, what just happened? And he looks at me and goes, go F yourself. So,
I love this story.
Yeah, I mean,
Because and it's for
well, to get your SAG card.
I
was
mean, to
just
get
like,
your SAG card is not an easy feat, and
it was
it's
not
called the
easy back then
Taft-Hartley.
either.
They
That's
just
right.
automatically make you union, which happens, but rarely.
Rarely happens.
And that happened for you.
Yeah,
And
it did.
again, you went on to do Porky's 2 at the time also. It
well.
didn't do as well as the
No,
original.
it only made $90 million.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
still, that's,
Yeah.
still
Still getting residuals
Listen, you're still getting residuals today.
from both of them, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
amazing.
And it's a cult classic. It really is.
Classic, yeah.
It really is when you think about it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is.
So you had you're on set for the first time. You're acting for the first time. Everything for you is the first time.
Pretty much.
How overwhelming was that for you?
Well, being a front man in a rock and roll band gave me, the confidence to say what I needed to say
Right.
and to act like I needed to act. I was still green as a twig. There's no question about it.
Right.
And there were a couple of people on set. Nancy Parsons, who played Miss Balbricker.
Yes,
And Art
she was
Hindle,
great. Yeah.
who played one of the cops.
Right. Yeah.
They both put their arms around me and realized that they had seen something in me. And they said, "Hey,
You
kid."
had it. You
Yeah.
had it.
And
Well,
they
you know what
just-
you had? Let's show your first headshot, okay? And now you realize. Look at that face. Come
my
on.
God.
Look at that first headshot. I mean, that's what they saw. They saw something that. I mean, it's in the eyes, Jack. Look at the eyes. Come on.
Smoldering, smoldering.
Thank you. I mean, that's what they saw, and they were like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
boom,
kind of, yeah.
boom." So now you come back to New York, and what happens?
Well, pretty much nothing happens. I mean, I start to look for representation and what have
Right.
you. And everybody thought that, it was a teen sex comedy, so whatever. So, I basically went back to my music.
Right.
And
Your
started
first
my
love.
band's band, my first love,
Yeah.
which never betrayed me, ever.
So it was there for you.
I know, and, because the movie business can be very fickle, as you know.
Yes.
And so we were waiting, and then about 3 or 4 years later,
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to play this superhero.
Yes.
And it's called Creating Rem Lazar. And
Right.
It's a story about 2 9-year-old kids, a boy and a girl, who both separately dream up their imaginary hero.
Right.
And it happens to be the same one.
Right.
And she has fears of the darkness. He has fears that he can't make friends.
Right.
And together, they put a dummy together and build him, and they fall asleep. And by the time they wake up, I am animated.
You're
and
like
I'm
a
lifeless.
life-size Pinocchio.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pic. It's not the greatest pic, unfortunately, but your hair was purple, right? Your hair, you had a DA back then, and it was very curly.
It was.
And it was blue.
It was blue,
It was blue,
yeah.
and every day you had to wash it or something because it was blue.
That's
it's not.
right.
There it is. I think it's with the two kids, right? Yeah,
Oh,
there you
yeah.
are with your blue cape and your blue hair.
That's me coming to life.
That's
Yeah.
you coming to life, and those are the 2 kids. Now the boy I know went on to become a lawyer.
That's right,
And
Jonathan.
do you know what happened to the?
Well,
little
he's
girl?
actually Gary Gotch's son,
Ah.
my associate producer from Porky's.
Okay.
They were looking for the boy, and I happened to mention that, well, my next door
Neighbor.
kid is a very talented young kid,
Wow.
and we got him in the movie. Yeah.
So now this is Scott's film.
This is Scott Zacharin's film.
That
yes.
Scott, he's from Long Island. He's out
Belmore.
Belmore. He's my neighbor.
Shout out to Belmore.
Shout out to Scott and Belmore. And that this was
Mark
his.
Muley, the composer.
Yes, and this was his baby because it's really a musical.
It is a
I
musical.
mean, there's music in there from rapping to doo-wop.
And to classic concert violins.
Yes.
Violins, yeah.
Yes, and you do most of the singing.
I do pretty much all
Yeah,
the
pretty
singing,
much
yeah.
all of
I
it.
did the entire soundtrack in one day.
You did. Wow,
Yeah.
that I did not know.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
In the studio, probably right down the block from here.
And that it was an after-school special, and also became another cult classic.
Yeah.
And
So what happened is it got rejuvenized. It got resurrected, I should say.
Yes, yes.
Online by the
Yes.
generation that watched it when they were kids.
Right.
Because they only made up, I think, 8,800 VHS
And this is
copies.
1987.
That's correct. And I think it released in 1989. I'm not sure. One
Right,
of the,
right,
88 or
right.
something like
Yeah.
that. We just had the 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it started to get chatter on the internet.
Right.
And before you know it, it was becoming this sensation, and people were like starting to call me and say, "Hey, man, what is this all about?" And I had totally forgotten about it, of course. And before I know it, there was there's a platform called Red Letter Media, and they
Okay.
have one of their shows is called Best of the Worst.
Okay.
And what they do is they take 3 different VHS movies,
Right.
and they rate them. And these guys sit around and they trash these movies.
Okay.
They get drunk, and the drunker they get, the funnier they are.
Right.
And Rem Lazar was the third in the list, and the drunker they got, the more they loved it, and they were just like so. And now I am in the Best of the Worst Hall of Fame.
Well, let me tell you
So-
something. You could actually find it.
You can.
It's an anniversary edition that's on eBay. Amazon's on there. There's even like stickers. There's metal posters. I mean,
There's
it's
Legos.
yeah,
of
yeah.
Rem Lazar.
It's really
There's-
taken on its own
Yeah,
world.
there's so many memes. It's unbelievable.
I know you shot most of it
in Belmore. Yeah.
and you also filmed in Central Park.
In Central Park as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
That was fun. You know, in a unitard and blue hair.
Yes.
But nobody noticed. That was the
You
funniest
fit
thing.
right in, Jack.
Fit right in. It was amazing.
That's great.
And so from the Red Letter Media thing, I
Right.
think that one day got 14 million hits.
Wow.
And that's when I called Scott up. We had been, in kind of close contact.
Yeah.
But I called him up and I said, please tell me you have the master, because we have to digitize
Yes,
this thing.
yes.
And he goes, I'm going to look. And he goes into his storage. He calls me about a week later. He goes, I found it. I found a house that can digitize it, and we're going to
Wow.
put the DVD out. And we did.
That's
and it's been
great.
selling so incredibly well.
That's
right now.
wild. I gotta see
know.
if I can get my hands on one.
Yeah.
I really do, because what I did see
You like it.
excerpts from, I did. I really did like it. I
gonna-
really
you're
did.
gonna
It's
love it.
sweet. It's sweet. It's
It
very
is very
sweet.
sweet, yes.
You know, it's very sweet with
And
the
then-
2 kids and
Yeah.
the message behind
The
it.
message behind it is about kindness
Yes,
and searching for the
yes,
highest
it's all
point of the
positive.
imagination.
It's all positivity, and that's what we need today.
Tell me about
You know,
it.
especially in this world that we're living in. But you did some things, mostly your music.
Mostly my music, yeah.
But then he got a big break. A big break.
Well, yeah.
And we can't talk about that right now because we have to go to break ourselves. So you want to hear about it? Come back. We'll be back after this.
See you on the other side.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Ttime on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight because Jack Mulcahy is with me. He is an amazing actor, producer, director, and I'm very excited that you're tuning in tonight. You know, Tea Time is live every Monday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook, and then it goes to Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV. You could hear it everywhere podcasts can be heard, and seen every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Channel 20 for people who live on Long Island who get Optimum. Isn't that exciting? We're going to be on TV Saturday.
I didn't know that we were live. I'm really sorry, folks.
No, stop. No, he kids. He jokes. All right, so let's talk about this movie, this indie, this amazing film that you were in. First of all, you happened to be playing softball with someone. What was his name?
I think his name was Ed Burns. And Ed joined the team at sometime, in mid-April or something like that. And we played a couple of games together, and we would often go to the bar that was sponsoring us, McAlear's,
Right.
which is no longer there, sadly.
Yeah.
And after about the third or fourth game, we're sitting around, we're starting to have a chat. He was asking me about Porky's. He's a big fan of that.
Right, right.
And so over beers and darts, he starts telling me about this little thing about 3 Irish American brothers dealing with religion and faithfulness and fidelity and marriage and what have you. And at the end of the night, we're drunk off our asses, standing on Amsterdam Avenue saying, hey man, we're going to make the best movie ever, blah, blah, blah. And then he disappears. I don't hear from him again.
Okay, because he goes to write it.
He goes to write it, whatever he's doing, I completely forgot about it.
Right.
September, I get a call, and he said, hey man, it's Ed Burns. I'm like, I almost forgot. And he says, yeah, I was talking to you about that Irish thing, Brothers McMullen. I was like, yeah. And he says, I'm really excited, man. I got some startup money. I got the script done. I go, really? How much you got? He goes, I got 15 grand.
Wow. $15,000.
He says, I want you to read the script. I read the script. I didn't care whether I was going to get paid. I knew this
You fell
character.
in love with it, right?
I loved the character.
And your character's name is Jack.
Is Jack McMullen.
And you were the eldest brother.
yeah.
And I have to say, I've had Michael McGlone on my show in the past, and he
My
tells
little brother.
his story of how he saw an ad in Backstage and applied and loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
And loved working with the cast and locally out here. They filmed a lot in Valley Stream. But what's crazy is that, yes, he kept you in mind, and he made that call to you. It took, you said, what, 8 months to film?
8 months on weekends.
Only on weekends?
So only on weekends, yeah. I mean, nobody.
Because everyone had real jobs during the week, right?
Yeah, everybody had gigs.
Yeah.
And but there was also, natural elements conspiring against us because we had like 26 snowstorms that winter.
Right.
Ed slipped a disc in his back. I mean, no, Ed had an attack of appendicitis, and our DP had slipped a disc in his back. So we were down completely for almost 2 months.
That's a long time in the movie industry. We have a pic. I think we have a pic of the three of you. If we could put that up, that would be lovely. Yeah, keep that there. Keep that there. Look at you. Now, you told me, leave that there, please. You told me you had to put on some weight for that
I
part.
did put on weight. I put on about 40 pounds on that.
Did they ask you to put on the 40 pounds?
No, but reading
you
the
felt-
character, I knew, he's resigned. He's in his mid to late 30s.
Right.
He's a pretty much a gym teacher at this point.
Right.
And he's falling under the pressure of his wife, played by the wonderful Molly McMullen.
Right.
Played by the beautiful Connie Britton.
Connie Britton.
And
and you have, and that pic, just to clarify, obviously you're in the middle.
So, yes.
And Michael's to
Michael's
your right.
The younger brother's on the right.
And there's Ed.
And there's Ed on my left.
On your left, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I love that pic, and I love that movie. You fall in love with it. I mean, you fall in love with the characters. It's so relatable, and just the words, the dialogue, is amazing.
And and Ed likes to take credit for it, but an awful lot of my snappy lines are my own.
Okay,
but,
which is nice that he gave you that freedom to run with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And this he called you up and he said,
yeah,
because no one got paid. Again, no one got paid, and it was deferred, which means you get paid later if it makes money.
Well, what happened is that there was no contract for SAG at the time for a
Okay.
budget of $15,000.
Okay.
And so he couldn't get Connie or myself a waiver. So I decided, because the role was so wonderful.
Well, because you were the only two that wore SAG at the
That's right,
time.
exactly. And so I figured, nobody's probably going to see this thing,
So you were doing it under the sneak.
I might get some tape for, a reel, whatever a reel was at that time.
Yeah.
To get better representation, what have you.
Right.
We got rejected by every single film festival, including Long Island, including Southampton.
Wow.
But we did get accepted to Sundance.
Sundance. Hello. Sundance.
And as soon as I got the message on my machine, remember message machines?
Yes, I do. Yes.
I remember it was early December, and I hit the thing, and it was Ed Burns going, hey, man.
Watch the language.
Yeah.
Just say effing.
Hey, MF. Pack your bags. We're going to Sundance. Click. And at that point, I knew that everything had changed.
Everything was going to change.
Everything was going to change. And after
And
the
you
first
knew,
screening,
like you said to yourself, do I really want to do this,
Yeah.
right? You kind of questioned
do
it.
I really want this?
Do you really want this?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, because you knew your life was going to
completely
change.
changed at that point.
And it did.
And it did. It did.
It did big
It gave me a
time.
name. It gave me cachet. It gave me representation.
Yes.
All those great things.
Yes.
It gave me legitimacy in a
It
business
did.
where it takes you a long time right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
So.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very sweet.
Yeah.
And Sundance was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean, after the first screening, it was amazing because we had 400 people at the Egyptian Theater, which is like the grand old dam of theaters in Sundance. And I had skied in Park City several times before, so I knew an awful lot of the locals.
Right.
And here's a little secret: they don't like Sundance, the locals, because 10,000 people in black just descend upon their little town. They don't ski.
Right.
But so I was able to get free ski passes and what have you. And in exchange, I would get them into all the cool parties. And after the very first screening, the thing exploded.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
From critics and everyone.
Well, the second screening was very interesting because that was all about the buyers.
Right. Okay. Who wants to buy this film? Now, Ed made the film for $15,000. What did he sell it for?
Sold it to Fox Searchlight, which was their very first acquisition, for $5 million.
$5 million.
They wound up making
That's with an
$40
M.
million.
Wow.
That year.
$40 million.
Mm-hmm. And because of the fact that it was a non-union film and I got called on the carpet for SAG for doing it, I never received a dime in residuals.
You got punished. They punished you.
Well,
they wanted to slap your hand and say, "Bad boy, you know better."
They wanted to make an example of me, of course.
And Connie too?
And well, I don't know how Connie dealt with it, but what happened is that is that they paid for the fines themselves. Okay, they took care of that. But still, I tried to find recourse to find a way to get the residuals.
Yes.
And they said, no, there's no way that we can do that. So rather than curse the darkness, I lit a candle and I got involved in union politics.
Yes.
And now I am on the local board. I'm a national board alternate, but I'm also the co-chair of the National Low Budget Film Committee.
Yes, I have that down here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I do is I affected change from within.
You make sure that what happened to you does not happen to anyone else.
That's right. So now we have.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So in the Low Budget Film Committee, we now have a micro budget contract, we have a low budget contract, we have a modified, and an ultra low.
Right.
And one of those would have covered Brothers McMullen. So if somebody does another Brothers McMullen, they'll get residuals if it's as successful as Brothers McMullen was.
And it won
Best Picture at Sundance.
For the time, it was the most successful indie film in history.
That's right.
Winning several awards.
Yes. Deauville, best, it was Grand Jury Prize at Sundance, and several others.
Yeah. Incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. But no, I thank you for what you do now
Yeah.
to, protect actors and their residuals, because it's tricky. It can be very tricky.
It is. And what I say to, other actors, fledgling or otherwise frustrated, is that it does happen, man. Just hang in there, keep doing your thing, keep creative, keep making stuff, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, don't
Believe
give
me.
up. Don't give up.
I am
Don't give
living
up.
proof.
Yeah, you just have to keep at it, because there's so many people, and I've had this conversation with many performers, that you get to a point and you're like, am I supposed to be doing this? And and everyone questions themselves at one point or another. And then instead of saying why me, you have to say, why not me?
That's right.
And really just dig deep again.
That's right.
And wake up and do it again.
right.
Just keep
Sure.
digging deep and
Back to one.
back to one. I love that. That sounds like a good title for something, Jack.
Here we go. What are we writing?
What are we writing? Well, you know what? I'm going to announce this here, because if I announce it here, I have to
You have to follow up.
I have to follow up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that in 2024, I'm going to be writing 2 short films. They could be 5 minutes, they could be 15 minutes. I am not committing to how long they're going to be, but I have 2 in my mind, 2 in my head, 2 concepts, 2 titles, and I spoke to Jack about it before the show. So he's going to hold me to it, and everyone else is going to hold me to it, and I have to make it happen now.
I'll produce it. Sure.
What? I'm going to hold you to that. But listen to me, from my mouth to God's ears, I have to
Fantastic.
make it happen.
Absolutely.
I do. Listen, we have to take my next break, but please don't go away, because there's so much more with this wonderful man, Jack, when we come back.
Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Theresa Canastraci Ttime with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Theresa on Facebook, Ttime with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love.
Oh,
Hey, everybody. You love Sal. Sal, I'm hoping to have him back on. The man's been very, very busy. He's also planning a wedding. But I'm hoping to have him back on the show. I'm with Jack Mulcahy. He is an actor, producer, director. You have seen him. You've seen this man in Porky's, okay? You've seen him in many, many things. Brothers McMullen. Since then, you have seen him many other TV shows, movies. Let's just go over a little list here. TV films, indie shorts. All right, he's been on Law and Order, Blue Bloods, NYPD Blue was one of my favorite shows. Movies, The Fisher King, Cadillac Man, Awakenings, Scent of a Woman. You even on Saturday Night Live.
I was.
Hello! One Life to Live, one of my favorite soaps. Many, many, many things. And we have a pic of you on Sex in the City. Oh my God. Now leave that there, please. Don't take it away. Thank you. Leave it there. You played Charlotte's brother,
Wesley.
Yes. And what is crazy about this is 20 years later, you were acting with Kim Cattrall, who we know was in Porky's.
That's right.
So that was a whole moment.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
How much fun was that?
Well, it was kind of interesting because, I was very excited about getting the job, of course.
Yes.
I had been in a couple of times.
She makes you muffins.
Well, Kristen Davis does, yeah.
Yes.
My sister does. And so I've
Yeah,
been...
Kim Cattrall did other things to him that we can't mention on my show.
So I got to see Kim again right before I was going into wardrobe.
Yeah.
And I said, Kim, and she goes, oh, so nice to meet you. We'll run lines when we get on set, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So she walks away.
Yeah.
And
you had to remind her.
About 10 minutes later, I get a knock on my door, and it's Kim. She goes, can I come in? She goes, my wardrobe people say, you did Porky's with me? I said, Kim, I was Frank Bell, the kid who's screwing around corners. She goes, oh my God. She goes, how's Gary? How's Bob? It's like all this wonderful stuff. And we really bonded at that point.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
You had a couple of actresses that you've worked with years ago, and then again years later. Who else was that also? You did that also with
Cynthia Nixon.
Yes,
I was
Cynthia
in
Nixon.
In another film with her, I
Right.
did The Cottonwood with Cynthia. We didn't have any scenes together, and we didn't have any scenes together in Sex and the City either.
Yeah.
However, during the strike, when everybody was on the picket lines,
Right.
I ran into her again, and we reconnected.
That's nice.
Yeah, so yeah.
That's nice. That's great. But like you mentioned, you are co-chairman of the National Low Budget Film Committee.
Yes.
You were also on the board of directors for SAG-AFTRA. How did that happen, and how long have you been on the board?
Well, I got involved in union politics shortly after SAG and AFTRA merged.
Okay.
So we're talking about 2014.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
2014. So it's been about 10 years now. And I ran for the board. I lost my first time by 7 votes, and then I just kept at it, kept doing committee work, and I was on the low budget film committee as an alternate.
Right.
Then I moved up to the standing committee, and then I became co-chair about 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Which was like fun. That's when we were starting to rewrite the contracts
Right.
to capture all the work that can be done when people can shoot movies on their phones. And they can say, hey, let's get our friends in here. But if you want to use SAG-AFTRA actors, we have to have a contract to cover that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the micro contract will go up to $20,000.
Okay.
So Brothers McMullen would have been covered under that.
Wow.
And then the other low budget, ultra low modified and low budget contracts.
No, it's nice that that was put into place because you have so many people doing indie films.
Yes.
And it's so hard to raise money or get investors. I don't know how it all works, but I know that people want their money back, or they want to get paid, or they want something. You know, no one's giving you something for nothing.
Sure.
And there are a lot of things that I've done that have been SAG deferred, or you know, where, like you said, you're not getting paid up front, but hopefully you get something later.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about how many indie people are out there, and they're putting out content. And if you get a film like Brothers McMullen, like 15 grand or anything less, because like you said, some people are just using their phones and just, you know, filming something and want to put it out there, content.
Right.
You know, it's nice to know now that there is some kind of protection and something behind that.
Yeah, and so what would happen with Brothers McMullen if we had that indie contract? It would trigger a basic codified agreement contract, our basic agreement, where everybody would get paid, everybody would be eligible for residuals moving forward.
Okay.
And so that's how that would happen, right?
Wow.
So all these other contracts are what we call agnostic, which means that you can shoot it, and then when you're done shooting, you can tell us how you want it to be exhibited.
Oh.
Either just by internet, just by festivals,
Right.
or just, you know, television or what have you. So, and then we can talk about what the best contract for you would be moving
Oh,
forward.
I like that. That's great, because then you
Yeah.
have so many options.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, did you ever get to work with Ed again, or anyone from Brothers
No,
McMullen?
no, but I was at a film festival.
Oh, we have to change that.
Yeah, I was I was at a film
Come on, Ed.
festival. I was at a film festival about let me see, sometime in October. I had a film that I was producing that was in there, and out of the theater, but in the film that was screening before mine was Christy Turlington, who I had never met over the years.
Oh, yes.
And she looked
his
at
wife.
me. And
That's his wife.
it's Ed Burns' wife, Christy. Supermodel. Christy
Supermodel,
Turlington.
hello.
And as soon as she looked at me, she knew exactly who I was, and it was just like, I can't believe it had been that long. I had never met. We had never met. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're also a member of the TV theatrical streaming negotiating committee
that
as
just
well.
finished up the negotiations
Yes.
for the contract. Just got the contract ratified.
And then you would take an exhale.
Almost a full year from the beginning when we did the wages and working conditions. That started sometime in December of last year.
Wow.
And then we took it to committee starting in June 7th. And, you know, we negotiated for 6 weeks, couldn't come to an agreement, went on strike. And then they called us back October 1st for another 10 days.
Right.
Went on strike again because
Now, in
they
all the
walked
years
away.
you're acting, was that the first strike that you were ever involved
First
in?
strike I was ever in, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've had contentious contract negotiations, but they've all been settled, you know.
Right.
Some gone over 2 or 3 days. You know, I remember shaking hands with the AMPTP on a July 4th at 4:30 in the morning once.
Right.
And this is my 4th negotiation, so I did 2014, 2017, 2020, and this one.
Wow,
And
that's great.
in 2020, we did the entire thing on Zoom because
COVID.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? So we left an awful lot of things slip through the cracks at that point. And we were more concerned about getting people back to work with COVID protocol protections.
Yes.
That, you know, a couple of the things that we missed there came back to bite us in this one. So we had to capture that.
Right.
And that's why we went on strike. And it was righteous, and we got it done. And I'm really happy. Everybody's really happy about it.
Well, talking about SAG-AFTRA, you and I know I've worked with Fran Drescher. Have you?
Yes.
We both worked with Fran.
We did Cadillac Men together.
You did.
I was one of the
with
SWAT
Robin
team
Williams.
officers. That's right. Yes. I was one of the
So
SWAT
that's
team
another
officers. That's another,
full
yes.
circle moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like Eskimo brother and sister.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Small business.
It is.
Small
It's a
world.
big business, but it's a small world.
That's
I
for
tell you,
sure.
I tell you, it's wild. You also you mentioned producing before,
Yes.
and you were a senior producer You're now correct me again if I get my fun facts wrong. Senior producer at Posse Films.
Posse Films has got a slate of 3 biopics that are in the $25 to $30 million range.
Okay.
We have one slated
too
to start.
shabby.
One slated to start shooting sometime in February.
Nice.
In Georgia.
Oh, I love
It's
Georgia.
about a very famous golfer. I can't give away too much
Right,
of that.
right.
The second one is about a NASCAR god.
Okay.
And the third one is going to be about a boxer. So
Love it.
Every one of them you
Love
know.
it. Love
You
it.
know all the names of
sure.
that.
I'm sure I do.
And yeah, and I have substantial roles in each one of these films.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
as well as producing.
What about West End Productions? Tell me
West End
about that.
Productions is my company.
Is your company?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to clarify
Yeah, absolutely.
the difference between the two.
West
but
End Kid.
I love
West End
that.
Kid
Yes,
Productions,
I got it. I got it. So you did 60 Miles North. That's post, correct?
No, that's in the film festivals now.
Oh, it is. It is in the film festival now. You actually directed it?
I co-directed that.
Co-directed and produced.
And yes, and I
Okay.
produced
Just
as well.
okay. Good. Now, you and I met. Let's talk about how Jack and I met.
Yes.
We met at a film festival.
That is correct.
That's where my short film, well, it's not mine, it's Maria Filippone's short film.
Hey, Maria.
The Graveyard. Hi, Maria. I'm having on Maria next week.
Oh, good.
Yes. The Graveyard Medium was
Yeah,
there.
Great film.
And did you see it?
I did. It was in the same block as mine. Yes.
I don't remember that, but I remember seeing yours
Yes.
because I loved you in it, and you produced it.
Yes.
You produced it called Gentle Boy.
That's right.
And I loved the film.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. So many talented people out there.
Yes.
So many talented, beautiful people, and it was lovely. It was really, really lovely. And you also produced, again, correct me, The Manor.
The Manor never came to fruition.
Okay.
But it's still, it's still
All right.
there.
It's
if
still,
it needs
it's
to be.
still there. You
That's
did
a horror feature.
Burn
Yes.
1.
Burn 1. That is coming up. That's in production right now.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the show?
The show. It's a baseball thing.
We love baseball.
And it's based on a novel, not a novel, but a memoir called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Cooperstown."
Oh, I love it.
So it first started out as a solo performance, as a one-man show, and then I thought maybe it'd go best as a web series, but now I think it's going to be a feature film. So
Cool.
yeah, it's about a real-life ball player in the 1950s, played for the Red Sox. Very talented lefty named Mickey McGillicuddy. Mickey McDermott, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The sitcom that I'm doing is
I
called
think you're
Meet
thinking
the
Barry Boys,
Maybe.
McGillicuddy.
No, I'm thinking of the sitcom that I'm writing, Meet the McGillicuddies.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's
I knew
Mickey
it came from somewhere.
Mickey McDermott, who at the time was more popular than Ted Williams was.
Wow.
And he got a little bit, too big for his britches, and the Red Sox traded him to the Washington Senators, which was the worst team in baseball at the
Yeah,
time.
pretty much.
And he became a journeyman and fell on hard times and what have you. And it's a wonderful real-life story.
Wow. Then you have the Caped Crusader.
Yeah, I played Alfred in a web series of Batman.
Nice.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yes.
I could see it. What about the horse on Cox Curve?
The House on Cox
Oh, I'm
Curve.
sorry. Hello, I can't read my own handwriting. The House.
The House on Cox Curve, starring Amanda Brooke Lerner, is one of the kookiest films I have ever done in my life. It was shot out in West Hampton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we had such a wonderful time shooting that thing. It's absolutely bizarre. It's about a
We
couple,
love bizarre.
It's about, a couple that's just hasn't connected in ages. She works too much. He's too easygoing. They have a brat of a daughter, and he figures, a bed and breakfast for the weekend will be the best thing for
Right,
them.
let's
They
get
walk
away.
into this fantasy of weirdness,
Okay.
and by the end of the weekend, they
All right.
figure it all out.
What about Spectrum?
Spectrum was, can't remember what Spectrum was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's okay. So listen, before we take my last break,
Yeah.
we have to talk about, don't play it yet, but we have to talk about the Snicker commercial.
Oh my God.
Okay? Because I love, Snickers is my favorite candy bar.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't read that about you.
No, it's nowhere to be found. Just a little inside information, but I love Snickers. If someone says, what's your favorite candy bar? It's Snickers. And then my second thing would be Goobers, because I have a thing with chocolate and nuts. I don't know. It's just me. So anyway, so you actually did a Snicker commercial. Before we play it, tell me how this happened, because you're singing and playing guitar in it.
Yes, and the audition itself was very interesting because I had been to that casting house many, many times, booked many commercials for them. And when they sent out the breakdowns, they said, we need a guitarist who can sing and what have you. And so they have a cassette there.
Right.
Before you go into the room to read. And, you know, you say the line, can I help you enjoy that? You know. And so I hit it, and it's just a G walk down. Before you know it, I've got it down, what have you.
Right, right.
And so I walk in, and Nancy comes in. She goes, Jack, how are you? Fine, fine. Okay, ready? Okay, go. And I do the thing, and she cuts it off. She goes, I had no idea you could sing. And I go, and Nancy, I am a singer.
Right, right.
And so 5 callbacks for that thing.
What?
I was doing an off-Broadway play at the time. And I had to tell them I might be shooting this thing on a Saturday, so we're going to have to cancel the show. It was off-Broadway, so I had no understudy.
Wow.
And somebody said, I said, you know, I can't turn this down. I could make about $30,000 for this thing.
30 grand.
Yeah.
What
And
year was
somebody
this? What year was this?
05, 06, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And one of the castmates says, you're going to make 30 grand? Well, I wanted to make it like 160,000.
160 grand. Play it.
Play it.
Can I help you enjoy that Snickers? Happy peanut soul over chocolate-covered mountaintops and waterfalls of caramel. Prancing nougat in the meadow sings a song of satisfaction to the world. The world. That's right.
It became so popular.
This went viral.
It went viral, and if you can look at it, you can just type in Snickers song
That's
online.
it. That's it.
And you will find so many parodies of it. It's unbelievable. And this is
my
just when
God.
YouTube was just starting out,
Yes,
too.
yes.
And I remember one page had 14 million hits, and it just crashed completely.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Just
so-
amazing. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back after this. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Theresa from Ttime. What's my show about? I interview people in the entertainment industry, producers, directors, actors, and guess what? My show is on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Channel 20 on Optimum TV. So tune in because it's fun, interesting, and exciting.
Doc, who's the best comedian you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Doc, who's your favorite guinea?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Doc, I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, welcome back to Tea Time. That's my friend Doc Good, and I'm hoping to have him back on the show. I am with Jack Mulcahy. He is a writer, he is a producer, he's a director. He's got a few things in the works. We have, I don't know, Bobby's got to put out the clock here, but we have like about another 7 minutes. But I just want to throw out a fun fact that I read.
Fun fact.
Fun fact that your grandfather was a gold medal winner in rowing
Gold and silver.
in the 1904 Olympics held in St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right. And he also began the crew team at Fordham University.
Wow.
He also used to row with Grace Kelly's father at something called the Atalanta Boat Club. Go figure.
Well, here's a fun fact that no one knows about me, but when I went to Camp Integrity,
Camp Integrity.
I won first place in rowing.
Rowing.
I did.
That's fantastic.
Didn't like the canoe. but I was really good at rowing. It's true. It's so true. I have a blue ribbon at home to prove it, Jack.
And you know, there's a scene, now that I think of it,
Yeah.
there's a scene in Rem Lazar where I am rowing the kids
Yes.
in the Central Park Lake.
Look at that. Wow, that's
How
wild.
serendipitous.
Listen, real quickly, shout out to George Buzzio for watching, and Michael Norton in Florida, and Elizabeth, and everyone watching. Please like the show. Please share it. I'm having a great time with Jack. He's an amazing actor. I've always loved your work and everything you've done. You can find Jack on Facebook, Jack Mulcahy on Facebook. Also, Jack Mulcahy the Third, 3RD on Insta. You can always see where he is, what he's doing, what he's up to. You also coach actors, so
I do.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about that really quick.
Well, what I do mostly for actors is I help them audition, because the audition process is fraught with so much peril.
It is, especially
And-
self-tapes.
And so I'm able to do that for them. I also coach monologues, and I also do scene study.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
great. Great
Yeah.
to know.
They're disciplines to like really
Yeah.
stinks to sink your teeth into. But easy for me to say.
What else do I have here about you? Just wanna see if there's anything that I left out. I don't think I did. I think I really hit upon everything I wanted to talk about. Before we end the show, because I think we have there we go. Thank you. We have about 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
So what would you like to talk about? I know you have written original songs.
I have
Are you going
written-
to be incorporating any of them into your writing?
In the sitcom that I'm writing, Meet the McGillicuddies.
Maybe
yes.
an intro song or something.
Definitely an intro
or-
song, but the character,
That's okay. I have brain farts all the time. Meet the McGillicuddies.
yes, and my character is an immigrant from Ireland.
Okay.
And he has.
Do you have a brogue?
I do have a brogue.
Oh, I love
She
an
is
Irish brogue.
It's a fantastic.
Yes,
thing,
it is.
yeah.
I could do one too.
So his name is Paddy McGillicuddy.
Okay.
And back in Ireland, he was a footballer. He was a rugby player.
Oh, yeah.
Of very great renown. But he was also very well known as being one of the greatest pub singers in all of Ireland.
Oh.
So
I
you know,
love that.
his wife passes away prematurely, and at that point, he doesn't know what to do with his life. So he decides to come to New York. And he
What a
starts,
culture shock for
and
him.
So he leaves the kids behind. They're all grown up.
Right.
And so he's getting ready for them to join him in New York. And he's staying with his uncle and his aunt at this pub
Okay.
called the Shillelagh.
Oh, I love
Which
that.
is where all the characters. It's the
I had a
nexus
Shillelagh
for the
player at my wedding.
Shillelagh,
Yeah,
the
I did.
Shillelagh Tavern.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
so he gets persuaded and almost coerced into taking the stage and doing a song. And before you know it, he's becoming a legend in New York.
Wow.
So yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So it's a kind of a dramedy.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited because there's like 3 things that you got going on.
That's right.
And one's going to be filmed in Georgia.
That's right.
Yeah. Did I mention my cousins in Alpharetta?
No.
Yeah. Shout out to Christine. Hi, Christine. Rizzo.
Christine.
Corrigan. Corrigan.
Corrigan.
Yeah.
Oh. CORRIGAN spells Corrigan.
Love it, love it. Well, listen, I want to thank you again for coming to Long Island and spending time with me and letting everyone get to know the phenomenal career that you've had. And I wish you so many more blessings and a wonderful 2024, because I keep saying 2024 is going to be a fabulous year for a lot of people.
I think so, and I'm glad you had me on here so close after the strike
Is
you know,
over, yes,
and
because
the
we talked
contract-
about
and the
when I met
contract
when I met
ratified,
Jack,
yes.
we talked about having him on, and then unfortunately the strike happened, so it got delayed.
And I was back and forth to California 3
Yes, you
different
were.
times.
You
So,
were.
you know, I'm back finally for good for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
And you know, I just wish everybody a wonderful holiday and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Listen, before we go, we're going to put up one last pic, please, Carmine. Thank you. And we're going to leave it there. Thank you. That picture is a picture of my brother-in-law, Edward Farrell, who unfortunately passed away this past week. I'm dedicating my show to him. he was a wonderful brother-in-law, and he was very artsy. Eddie Farrell worked for Con Ed for over 20 years, and always worked 2 jobs. And he was an amazing theatrical actor as well. And he always encouraged me to act and follow my dreams, and that's what I'm doing, Eddie. And most of all, Ed was a wonderful family man. He was a great husband to Terry, and he was a fabulous father to his 3 children, Galen, Fiona, and Aiden. And I just want to say that I will miss you. Your family will miss you. And I want you to keep making them laugh up there, Ed. Thank you, Carmine. You can take that down, because what I want to say now to everybody, to Jack, thank you again. And to everyone out there, remember, tell everyone you love them. And I'll see you next week. Ciao, everybody.